Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mucking Fun Day. Did you have a good weekend? Was it nice and warm, or did you stay inside because it was too warm? Well, today is another episode of Before Coffee, the father and daughter podcast, where we comprehensively look at the news 10 to 15 minutes before it starts without any caffeine in our bodies. So, what's in those headlines today? Today on Before Coffee, Poland marks the 85th anniversary of Nazi Germany's invasion at the start of World War II.
And we have a small plane crash into townhouses in Oregon.
New hand luggage rules coming into EU airports this weekend, last weekend. Here's what you need to know.
And we have Maids going on strike at major hotel chains.
Hempcrete, the green brick taking on the challenge of climate change.
And it's Labor Day. Labor Day in the United States. This is the first Monday of September. And it's September 2nd, 2024 on Before Coffee.
Great. It's already September. Do you remember? Okay. Unfortunately, this is not a great day for history, as I'm sure we'll also talk about later in this day in history, but it's Poland's anniversary of getting invaded by Nazi Germany in World War II. It's the 85th, so it's been 85 years since that historical day where Germany decided that it was going to colonize Poland. This is by Monika Szilowska on AP News. Coming out of Warsaw, Poland's leaders stressed the need for a strong defense in the face of war in the neighboring Ukraine, and redress as they led solemn ceremonies early yesterday, which was the 1st of September, to mark the 85th anniversary of Germany Nazi forces invading and bombing Polish territory at the start of World War II. My voice went British in the middle of that sentence. My tongue did something weird. Okay. Sirens wailed and memorial bell tolled as President Andrzej Duda and Deputy Ambassador of Germany Robert Rode attended an observance in the town of Wajlun, the first civilian target of German bombing in the small hours of September 1st, 1939. Some 1,200 people were killed in the attack, which witnesses say began at 4:40 a.m. Let's go ahead and bomb a random village. That'll show them. We can say that we have forgiven even though we remember, even though the pain is persisting, and even though there are still tens of thousands those who have been directly hurt by the Germans, Duda said. He called on Berlin to make amends. Meanwhile, a monument on the Baltic Sea's Westerplatte Peninsula, where a military outpost was shelled by a German warship just minutes after Wajlun was attacked, Prime Minister Donald Tusk and Defense Minister Władysław Kosiniak-Kamysz laid wreaths and attended a memorial roll call for fallen soldiers. At the time, the outpost outnumbered troops fought for 7 days before surrendering to the Germans, becoming a symbol of heroism and patriotism. Tusk said war was present again in the region as the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which began in 2022, grinds on. He said, in a clear reference to Germany, it wasn't enough to speak about reconciliation or to bend your head in the sense of guilt, adding that the best sign of lessons learned from the past is the readiness to organize the entire Western world, Europe, and NATO for the defense against aggression that we are witnessing today in the battlefields of Ukraine. Today we will not say never again. Today we must say never again alone, the Prime Minister said. Tusk also said Poland was building the most modern army in Europe and one of the strongest in Europe, to actively contribute to unity and strength of the NATO Defense Alliance and the European continent, and to end all the civilization and never again expose our homeland to any risks. German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock posted on Twitter saying she wished Poles and Germans become completely normal towards one another, adding it was the desire of former Polish Foreign Minister Władysław Bartoszewski, who survived the German invasion. She also wrote that it was their responsibility While bearing our past in mind, we constantly work to keep their friendship alive. In more than 5 years of World War II and the brutal German occupation, Poland lost 6 million citizens, or a sixth of its population, of which 3 million were Jewish. The country also suffered huge losses in infrastructure, industry, and agriculture. Poland's previous right-wing government demanded $1.3 trillion in damages from Germany. Tusk's current cabinet has toned the demand down to some form of compensation that could serve to strengthen the ties between the two neighbors. Germany insists the matter's closed, as it had paid damages to the Moscow-led East Bloc after the war. Warsaw said it did not get any share of it. Addressing the attendees at Wajlun observance, the Polish president said, "Forgiveness and the admission of guilt is one thing, but compensation for the damage caused is another thing, and this issue has not been settled yet." So there's your news coming out of Poland about the tragic day Germany decided to become an imperial power. On to your story.
Okay. I found another story, so we're going to cover that one too. But
Cool.
The first story I covered was a plane crash. This happened over the weekend. Hello? 3 dead after a small plane crashes into a row of townhouses in Oregon. What? What's wrong? Are you saying something while I'm talking?
No. I said plane crash. That's all.
Okay. Every time I start to talk, I hear. Oh, okay. This is from Associated Press. 3 people were dead after a small plane crashed at a row of townhouses on Saturday morning in a neighborhood east of Portland, setting the homes ablaze, authorities told KATU-TV. Officials earlier today said the plane was carrying 2 people and at least 1 resident had been unaccounted for. Photos and videos published by KGW-TV in Portland showed one of the townhomes engulfed in flames while black smoke poured out of the adjoining houses. Grisham Fire Chief Scott Lewis said the fire had spread to at least 4 of the homes, displacing up to 6 families. He said 2 people were treated at the scene, but he didn't describe the type of severity or injuries. The Federal Aviation Administration identified the aircraft as a twin-engine Cessna 421C, which it says went down at 10:30 a.m. near Troutdale Airport, about a 30-minute drive east of Portland. As the plane went down, it knocked over a pole and power lines, causing separate brush fire in a nearby field, according to Multnomah County Sheriff's Office. The plane was split into multiple parts as it crashed into a residential area in the city of Fairview, which is home to about 10,000 people. Lewis said the first call about the fire came from the staff of the Troutdale Airport control tower, who saw a thick plume of smoke rising in the air. But Lewis said the initial reports indicated there was no mayday, no call for emergency from the aircraft itself before it crashed. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading an investigation into the crash. The agency has sent 2 investigators to the site of the crash. We'll document the wreckage, spokesperson Peter Knudsen said. He did not release further details about the crash. The website for Port of Portland, which oversees the general aviation and maritime operation of the Portland area, describes Troutdale Airport as a flight, training, and recreational airport. So, small planes crash a lot more than big planes do. A lot of times, inexperienced pilots or dangerous crosswinds. I still don't understand why all small planes don't have parachutes on them, like parachutes for the plane itself.
Maybe they're just too heavy,
right?
The plane can't even take off if they have parachutes because they're too heavy.
but this one probably didn't really get to full takeoff, so that wouldn't have helped. In other news involving the dead whale, a spy whale. We're going to talk about the beluga whale. This is from Business Insider. A beluga whale accused of spying for Russia with a mounted camera has been found dead near Norway's coast. This is from Matthew Lowe, L-O-H, from the Business Insider. A beluga whale, believed to have been trained to spy for Russia, was found dead in Norwegian waters on Saturday, 5 years after making the local coast his home. The lifeless body of H. Vladimir, I don't know if you pronounce that, Vladimir with an H at the start, H. Vladimir, I guess we're going to say it that way, because I have no pronunciation guide for this word. It's spelled Valdemir, or is it pronounced Valdemir, was discovered by a teenage fisherman. Maybe you can tell me. I don't know. I'm going to have to say this about 50 times, so if I say it wrong. The lifeless body of H. Valdemir was discovered by... Well, maybe you can look up the pronunciation of it for me. I can do it real quick.
Yeah, you'd have to spell it for me first, because I don't even know how to spell that.
Sorry, avoid delay. Maybe play some music.
I mean, I've already butchered a bunch of close people's names because I have dyslexia, so I can't even read their names. It's just a bunch of...
It's a Norwegian name. Alright. Okay, Valdemir is one. Valdemir. It's Valdemir. We're going with Valdemir.
Okay.
The English-sounding lady said. Alright, we're going with Valdemir. Now to restart the story. The lifeless body of Valdemir was discovered by a teenage fisherman and his father near the town of Risikbaka on Saturday morning, according to marine conservationists for the nonprofit Marine Mind. Our team arrived to find Valdemir floating peacefully in the water, the organization wrote in a social media post. It's not immediately clear what caused his death. A necropsy will be conducted to determine his early passing. Valdemir, whose name is a pun featuring the Norwegian word for whale and Russian leader Vladimir Putin's name, first drew attention in 2019 when he appeared off Norway's northern coast sporting a harness with a GoPro camera. Several clips on the harness were labeled Equipment St. Petersburg, fueling the theory that Valdemir was trained in the Russian military, or trained by the Russian military. Russia has a track record of training marine animals like dolphins and beluga whales. A practice that dates back to the Soviet Union and continues today. The U.S. Navy has also trained dolphins to clear mines and to defend against divers. Yeah, give them a little knife, and that's kind of cool. Marine Mind, which has been largely dedicated to caring for Valdemir since his appearance, said it knows little about the beluga whale's past and can't confirm whether Russia captured him before. Valdemir was very interested in people and responded to hand signals, the organization said on its website. Based on these observations, it appeared as if Valdemir had arrived in Norway by crossing over from Russian waters, where it is presumed he was held in captivity. But if he was trained by the Kremlin, Valdemir seemed to have defected, gradually traveling south towards Norway's more populated regions over the last 4 years. He quickly gained celebrity status as a video surfaced of him gently interacting with people, lifting his head out of the water to greet residents, and bringing them gifts in his mouth. In late 2019, he was filmed playing fetch with a rugby ball. Marine Mind said Valdemir was found multiple times with scars from accidental boat collisions after showing up, but that he was a resilient animal who was adapting to life with humans. His death was a shock to the team, they told local broadcaster NRK. Valdemir is believed to be about 15 years old, and beluga whales can live up to 60 years in the wild. A resident, Dag Anfinsen, told NRK that he had spotted Valdemir in healthy condition just a day before his death, observing the whale diving and swimming for several minutes. Marine Mind and Russian Defense Ministry did not immediately respond to requests for comment sent outside regular business hours by Business Insider. Valdemir's death comes amid growing tensions in an already frosty relationship between Norway and Russia due to the Ukraine war. Norway is an active member of NATO, which has been intensifying drills and exercises in the region to prepare for a heightened possibility of a war with Russia. U.S. allies in northeastern Europe, particularly the Nordic and Baltic nations, have been vocal about resisting Russia and strengthening their defense industries. In April, Oslo announced it would nearly double its defense budget with an expansion of $56 billion. And all involved in this sad tale of a whale that has left us too soon. So long, Valdemir, we barely knew you. Back to you.
Okay.
Barely knew ya.
Let's talk about some
Okie dokie.
we're just talking about planes, but there's also going to be some new luggage rules coming into the EU, or they already have hit last weekend on Saturday and Sunday. So if you have any plans of going to EU or Ireland, well, you're going to have to follow some new rules. I'm sure there's going to be signs pasted everywhere saying, do this, you're not allowed to do this anymore. This is from Denise O'Donoghue on the Irish Examiner. So we're going to have a bit of an Irish perspective here. If you're flying anywhere in Europe in September, you should make yourself familiar with some new rules coming into effect at EU airports from this weekend. For passengers traveling with hand luggage on flights, new rules are coming into effect from yesterday, Sunday, September 1st, around liquids in your hand luggage. Why are the rules changing? The European Commission has questioned the reliability of next-generation scanners at EU airports and has called for temporary restoration of previous models. This means airports using the new C3 scanners, which usually allow passengers to leave liquids and electronic items in their bags while being scanned, and which remove the need for the 100 milliliter restriction on each liquid, aerosol, or gel, will be reverting to older methods to process passengers through security. The effectiveness of the new scanners was questioned by a technical report that the Commission sent to European Civil Aviation Conference last May, which notes that they cannot guarantee the scanner's reliability for containers with content of more than 330 milliliters. From September 1st, airports using C3 scanners will have to revert to traditional X-ray machines, which may cause delays at some airports. And how long is this for? The Commission described the measure as temporary, but has not given an end date. The Airports Council International Europe, ACI, describes the rule changes as a major setback for both passengers and airports. Those airports which have been early adopters of this new technology are being heavily penalized both operationally and financially, says Olivia Jankovic, ACI Europe Director General. They have made the decision to invest and deploy C3 scanners in good faith, based on the EU having green-lighted this equipment without any restrictions attached. The decision to now impose significant restrictions to their use questions the trust and confidence the industry can place in the current EU certification system for aviation security equipment. We need to draw the lesson from this situation and make sure the EU certification system provides the necessary legal certainty and operational stability moving forward. So what does this mean for the liquids you're traveling with? During the temporary change, liquids will be limited to 100 milliliters containers and sealed in a clear bag. It's back to the 100 milliliter bottles sealed in a plastic bag, unfortunately, and taking out electronic devices for scanning too. If you're traveling through the airport that has a C3 scanner, such as Dublin Airport, from September 1st, you should pack your carry-on luggage the same way you would have a few years ago, if you were alive a few years ago. So no large bottles of sunscreen, and leave the big bottle of perfume at home, or pack it in your check-in luggage. How does this affect Irish airports? C3 scanners have been in use in Dublin's 2 terminals for some time, with Airport confirming last April it was on track to have replaced all scanners in both of its terminals by October 2025. All passengers will have to remove their liquids from their bags when being scanned at both terminals from the September 1st date. However, only passengers traveling through Terminal 1 must fit all their liquids into one 1 liter clear plastic bag. Passengers in Terminal 2 have no limit on clear bags or 100 milliliter containers. However, it is business as usual at Cork Airport, which has yet to upgrade to a C3 scanner, so security screenings will continue as normal. A new mezzanine floor is to be constructed at Cork Airport in 2025 to accommodate C3 scanners at the airport. It is unclear at this point how the update rules will affect the airport's plan to install the new scanners. Travelers should take note of the airport they are flying to and plan accordingly if it is among those affected by the temporary move away from C3 scanning. I mean, I haven't traveled in a while, but I don't even know if the Netherlands has C3 scanning. But we definitely had to still go through an x-ray, so I don't think they do. They might have added it since I used the airplane. The last 3 years I haven't flown anywhere, but yeah, I've always just done all that stuff. Taking my shoes off, taking my things off. Though technically in European airports, you do not have to take your shoes off. That's not required. Keep those toes in your shoes.
Go to a dead pants over one guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I barely wear any clothes and I wear sandals, because then, there's nothing to look for. I'm basically naked. There's nothing for me to hide. So, and also it just gets really hot on planes, so I'd rather have to put more clothes on than have to take clothes off, I guess. There's your story coming out of EU airports.
I definitely take my shoes off.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a reminder that most of this stuff doesn't actually do anything. It's just a show to scare anybody who might do anything away, and just a hassle for anybody who has no plans of doing anything dangerous at an airport. They've actually done studies. None of the security checks actually stop crime. They just try to prevent crime. Your story.
Mm-hmm.
Are you okay?
Okay, so, right. Yeah, I was just looking for a video.
Oh, okay.
Okay, in labor news, I do a video about Tennessee in a minute, I guess. AP, this is AP News. In labor, strikes start at top hotel chains as housekeepers seek higher wages and daily room cleaning work. With up to 17 rooms to clean each shift, Fatima Mahmoud's job at the Moxie Hotel in downtown Boston sometimes feels impossible. There was a time she found 3 days worth of blood, dog fur. Sorry, let's do that again. There were a time she found 3 days worth of blonde dog fur clinging to the curtains, the bedspread, and the carpet. She knew she wouldn't finish in the 30 minutes she's supposed to spend in each room. The dog owner had declined daily room cleaning, an option that many hotels have encouraged as environmentally friendly, but as a way for them to cut labor costs and to cope with worker shortages since the COVID-19 pandemic. Unionized housekeepers, however, have waged a fierce fight to restore automatic daily room cleaning at major hotel chains, saying they have been saddled with unmanageable workloads, or in many cases, fewer hours and a decline in income. The dispute has become emblematic of the frustration over working conditions among hotel workers who were put out of their jobs for months during pandemic shutdowns and have returned to an industry grappling with chronic staffing shortages and evolving travel trends. Some 10,000 hotel workers, represented by the Unite Here Union, walked off the job Sunday at 24 hotels in 8 cities, including Honolulu, Boston, San Francisco, San Jose, San Diego, and Seattle. Hotel workers in other cities could strike in the coming days as contract talks stall over demands for higher wages and reversal of service and staffing cuts. A total of 15,000 workers have voted to authorize strikes. We said many times to the manager that it's too much for us, said Armahud, whose hotel is among those where workers have authorized a strike but have not yet walked out. Michael D'Angelo, Hyatt's head of labor relations for the Americas, said the company's hotels have contingency plans to minimize the impact of the strikes. We're disappointed that the Unite Here has chosen to strike where Hyatt remains willing to negotiate. In a statement before the strikes began, Hilton said it was committed to negotiate in good faith to reach fair and reasonable agreements. Marriott and Omni did not return requests for comments. The labor unrest serves as a reminder of the pandemic's lingering toll on low-wage women, especially Black and Hispanic women, who are overrepresented in the front-facing service jobs. Although women have largely returned to the workforce since bearing the brunt of the pandemic-era furloughs, are dropping out to take on caregiving responsibility. That recovery has masked a gap in the unemployment rates between women and college degrees and those without. Women with college degrees without. The U.S. oil industry employs around 1.9 million people, some 196,000 fewer workers than in February 2019. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly 90% of building housekeepers are women. Can't talk this morning. According to federal statistics, it's a workforce that relies overwhelmingly on women of color, many of the immigrants, and which skews older, according to Unite Here. Union President Gwen Mills characterizes the contract negotiations as a part of a long-standing battle to secure family-sustaining compensation for service workers on par with more traditionally male-dominated industries. Hospitality work overall is undervalued and it's not a coincidence that it's disproportionately women and people of color during the work, Mills said. The union hopes to build on its recent success in California, where after repeated strikes, it won significant wage hikes, increased employer contributions to pensions, and fair workload guarantees in a new contract with 34 hotels. Under the contract, the housekeepers at most hotels will earn $35 an hour by 2027. The American Hotel and Lodging Association says 80% of member hotels reported staffing shortages, and 50% cite housekeeping as their most critical hiring need. Kevin Carey, the association's interim president and CEO, says hotels are doing all they can to attract workers. According to the association surveys, 86% of hoteliers have increased wages over the past 6 months. Now is a fantastic time to be a hotel employee, Carey said in an email statement to the Associated Press. Hotel workers say the reality on the ground is more complicated. Maria Mata, 61, a housekeeper at the W Hotel in San Francisco, says she earns $2,190 every 2 weeks if she gets to work full-time. But some weeks she only gets called in 1 or 2 days, causing her to max out her credit card to pay for household expenses. It's hard to look for a new job at my age. I just have to keep the faith that we will work this out. Guests at the Hilton Hawaiian Village up until Nella Ryan Tanti, they don't need their rooms cleaned because they don't want her to work too hard. She says she seizes every opportunity to explain that refusing her service creates more work for a housekeeper. Since the pandemic, Unite Here has won back automatic daily room cleanings at some hotels in Honolulu and other cities, either through contract negotiations, grievance filings, or local government ordinances. But the issue is back on the table at many hotels where contracts are expiring. Mills said Unite Here is striving for a language to make it difficult for hotels to quietly encourage guests to opt out of the daily housekeeping. The U.S. hotel industry has rebounded from the pandemic despite average occupancy rates that remain shy of 2019 levels, largely due to the higher room rates and record guest spending in a room. Average revenue per available room, a key metric, is expected to reach a record high of $101.84 in 2024, according to the Hotel Association. David Sherwin, the director of the Cornell University Center for Innovative Hospitality and Employment Relations, says Unite Here is a strong union but faces a tough fight over daily room cleaning because hotels consider reducing services part of a long-term budget and staffing strategy. The hotels are saying the guests don't want it. I can't find the people and it's a huge expense. That's the battle. Workers bristle at what they see as moves to squeeze more out of them as they cope with erratic schedules and low pay. While unionized housekeepers tend to make higher wages, pay varies widely between the cities. Chandra Anderson, 53, makes $16.20 an hour as a housekeeper at the Hyatt Regency Baltimore, Inner Harbor, where workers have not yet voted to strike. She's hoping for a contract that will raise her hourly pay to $20, but says the company came back with a counteroffer that felt like a slap in the face. Anderson, who has been her household's sole breadwinner since her husband went on dialysis, said they had to move to a smaller house a year ago in part because she wasn't able to get enough hours at her job. Things have improved since the hotel reinstated daily room cleaning early this year, but she still struggles to avoid basics like groceries. Tracy Lingo, president of the Unite Here Local 7, said the Baltimore's members are seeking pensions for the first time, but the biggest priority is bringing hourly wages closer to those in other cities. That's how far behind we are, Lingo said. All right, that's your story about hotel I did no idea they were making $35 an hour in San Francisco, but hey, that's a pretty nice wage.
Hey, time to move.
But it's hard work.
Yeah, it
Hard work,
is.
and a lot of times the people don't want you in their room. They don't want you
And
in their room.
they
think,
and
you're
they
gonna
say
go through
you
our
stole
stuff.
you stole my stuff, and then you get fired because they actually just misplaced it. You know. Oh, it was actually my luggage the whole time. Whoops. Maybe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maids that are thieves really don't keep their jobs very long.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, me just like start robbing people because I actually don't want to have a job.
You just go to prison instead.
Yeah, that, I mean,
Right.
more
I just-
reliable food and housing, I guess, in prison. It's always there every day at 2 p.m. You get lunch. Okay, anyways, I have no good segue, so let's talk about Hempcrete. The worst named concrete substitute I've ever seen. Hempcrete. This is by Garfield Miri on Euronews Design. So, hempcrete is a bio-based building material helping to power the drive to net zero. But how can a product developed a millennia ago help tackle today's environmental challenges? Euronews Culture gets down and dirty with the material that has Europe's eco-conscious architects high with excitement. I almost read that as excrement. I also can't read today. I was like, high with excrement. That's not the same word. Alright. It really doesn't look like much, but Hempcrete is the green building material that's got eco-savvy homeowners and architects excited by its potential to be a sustainable alternative to environmentally expensive bricks and concrete. It is made using a carefully calibrated mixture of hemp shiv, the dried inner core of the hemp plant, mixed with lime and water. Not lime, but limestone. They're not sprinkling some lime on the delicious a hemp salad. But although hempcrete seems like a very modern building material, its history stretches back over 1,500 years. Were you alive back then? Because I wasn't. Hemp plaster from the 6th century still lines the walls of the UNESCO designated Ellora caves in India, and hemp mortar has been discovered in ancient Merovingian bridges abutment in France, which is fitting, as France was the forefront of the 1980s drive to modernize hempcrete and introduce it to a new generation. Oh, so this is not its first return, it also returned in the 80s. Back then, when wet hempcrete was cast on site as concrete is today, but the challenge of getting the mixture right made it a tricky product for lay people to use. Yeah, you can't just pour some concrete in a bag and then mix it yourself. Too much of any of the three ingredients could make the material runny, weak, and while not enough, could cause crumbling. Its drying time also posed problems. In fair conditions, cast hempcrete can take between 4 and 6 weeks to cure, but a cold, damp winter could slow the process to at least 6 months, restricting its mass use across northern Europe. Yeah, I mean, it was invented in India, as we saw, and southern France isn't exactly known for being cold, so makes sense. Despite the challenges, hempcrete's undeniable environmental credentials have meant it was a case of when rather than if it would muscle its way into the mainstream building trade. Liam Donahoe, Chief Operating Officer at the UK Hempcrete, a Derbyshire-based company designing and supplying materials to building projects using hempcrete, tells Euronews Culture that sustainability plays a part in every part of the product's development. Okay, so there's a picture of it, and it looks kind of just like concrete, but maybe more natural in a way. Like more muddy. It looks more like mud, but concrete colored mud. Kind of like what Pueblo houses look like in New Mexico. Hemp, unlike conventional crops, doesn't require a lot of fertilizer or pesticides to protect it as it grows. The type of fibrous hemp usually used in construction is a tall plant that grows quickly and so can be cropped and planted quite close together, naturally suppressing weeds, he says. I'm not saying it takes no energy to produce hempcrete, it does, but when you compare it to a man-made insulation and wall infills, it has an unlimited lifespan, and primary ingredient is a renewable crop that costs a lot less energy and carbon to produce. Experiments in France and Belgium's University of Leuven in the early 2000s saw researchers begin tackling the barriers preventing hempcrete from realizing its full potential as mainstream building product. The eureka moment was the development of hempcrete block or green brick, which took the specialist skills and guesswork out of using the material. The lightweight fibrous block opens up a new world of possibilities for the material without diminishing any of its eco-credentials. It is free from volatile organic compounds, VOC, and indefinitely retains in its acoustic, moisture absorption, and thermal conductivity properties, in sharp contrast to synthetic insulation that decompresses over time to become less effective. That is so cool. It's like a bit of an all-in-one material there. So you can make your new rave spot out of this stuff. Now consistent, lightweight, and reliable product that can easily be transported to sites used by jobbing builders without extensive training. Despite its versatility, experts are quick to dismiss the comparisons between hempcrete and concrete. Concrete is a reinforced, structural building material that can support its own weight, while hempcrete is used around a frame of wood, steel, or concrete. Think of it as insulation that doesn't cost the earth. When hempcrete is made into blocks, it's strong enough to support itself, so it can be used to build multi-story buildings. There are a number of examples in the Netherlands, South Africa, and France, so it's not that you can't build high or strong structures with it, but you need to use it around a frame, Donahoe says. Researchers are working on developing a structural application for hempcrete. That currently means usually tweaking the recipe. The sweet spot is finding something that's very consistent, that goes into the building site just like any other building product, without compromising too much on the carbon inputs to the recipe by using ingredients that are less sustainably produced. Hempcrete is proving itself to be well-suited to the radically different way many lives are lived in the post-COVID world and the desire to do more to ensure the survival of the planet. In the recent past, people would commute to their heated offices, do a days of work, and return home to put the heating on for an hour or two in the evening, Donahoe says. We don't live like that now. Increasingly, a lot of us want a nice, stable, healthy environment at home because that's where many live and work. Synthetic insulations such as polyethylene and fiberglass form a barrier between heat and cold, but they heat up and cool down very quickly. By contrast, natural materials such as earth or hempcrete are a little slower initially to heat up, but they retain their heat a lot longer, a process called decrement delay. This process suits today's world where people are home a lot longer and the heating is on more frequently during the colder months, he added. The major players in hempcrete world hail from Europe. In the Netherlands, France, Belgium, Germany, and Italy, hempcrete is routinely used to retrofit old buildings and form the core of new buildings. One of the biggest producers in Belgian company Hemp, the Fernolmo-based business, has been trading since 2011 and operates in 5 countries. It produces more than 1 million hempcrete blocks a year and claims that the projects it has worked on has saved 18,000 tons of CO2 from the environment. That's equivalent to the emissions produced by a petrol car circumnavigating the planet 32,000 times. Although the UK is a few steps behind the pack, the gap is closing fast. UK hempcrete, known as 300 to 400 houses in the UK that have been built with hempcrete, and sees a bright future for the product. The future of hempcrete will be a prefabrication using modular methods of construction. We already have timber frames, houses largely assembled in factories, brought to the site and constructed there. There's no reason why hempcrete houses can't be similarly prefabricated, Donohue says. In Britain, companies are building conventional family homes with hempcrete that look just like estate homes anywhere in the country, with vastly superior eco-performance benefits. The focus for us is retrofitting pre-1940s housing stock. We are working with the community housing cooperatives around the country who have old houses that are cold and leaky. The biggest opportunity is developing the market alongside the growing new build market. Perhaps the full potential of hemp and hempcrete has yet to be realized. BMW currently uses a weight-saving hemp polymer in the door panels of its i3 electric car, while in southern Italian earthquake zone, hempcrete is used as a flexible building material that can cope with Earth's movement rather than rigid, brittle concrete. The future of hempcrete as a green building material looks assured, but with researchers working on ever more innovative ways to use it, perhaps we've only seen a tantalizing glimpse of a difference it can make. So there is your good news, environmental news there about hempcrete, and how, I guess, if you have a moment where you need to reinvest in your insulation because it's been 20 years and it's gotten a little old, check out some hempcrete. Get some blocks in there instead of using your fiberglass, and see what changes you'll see in the next few years. And save the environment all in the while. That's my story, and I did get your video.
Okay, cool. So this day in history, I guess we're talking. This day in history. Very busy day. In the year 31 BCE, Octavian, later named himself Augustus Caesar, won a decisive victory over Mark Antony in the Battle of Actium. Actium. Sounds like something tastes like an acid reducer or something. Take Actium 3 times a day. 1792 on this day, the September massacres. Well, if it's named a massacre, you know it's not good. September massacres, mass killings of prisoners in Paris began instigated by beliefs that political prisoners during the French Revolution were going to rise up in their jails to join the counter-revolutionary plot. So the mass killings with that guillotine all oiled up. 1898, Anglo-Egyptian forces under Major General Sir Horatio Herbert Kitchener, later Lord Kitchener, defeated the Sudanese forces of the Mahdist leader Abd Allah in the Battle of Omdurman. It was in 1898 this day. In 1901, American politician Theodore Roosevelt, who was then the Republican vice presidential candidate, gave the first public speech in which he said, "Speak softly, and carry a big stick, and you'll go far." The big stick policy became the central feature of his presidency. So speak softly and carry a big stick. That's the first time we heard it in 1901 in this day. 1928, American jazz pianist, composer, and band leader Horace Silver, who was exemplary former what came to be called the hard bop style of the 50s and 60s, was born. So happy birthday, Horace Silver, born in 1928. Also the birthday of, well, it's not a birthday. On this day in 1945, Ho Chi Minh declared Vietnam independent from France, starting a bunch of shit. In 1945, also on this day, World War II, the exact same day that World War II came to an end, as Japanese Foreign Minister Shigemitsu Mamoru and General Umezu Yashijiro signed Japan's formal surrender aboard the USS Missouri. So VJ today. 1948, it's the birthday of American teacher Krista Corrigan McAuliffe. Happy birthday to her. She was chosen to be the first private citizen in space, and she was one of 6 crew members who died on the Challenger when it exploded in 1986. That's her birthday today. 1973, English writer J.R.R. Tolkien died at the age of 81. So J.R.R. Tolkien, of course, the writer of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings series, passed away on this day 51 years ago. 1998, Swiss SAR Flight 111 crashed off the coast of Nova Scotia, Canada, killing all 229 people aboard. It was later determined that faulty wires had caused the plane's flammable insulation to catch fire. Fucking hate when that happens. 2016, following the much speculation, the death of Islam Karimov, the first president of Uzbekistan, was officially announced. In our featured event on this day in 1666, that's right, 1666, the Great Fire of London took place. On this day in 1666, the Great Fire of London began accidentally in a house of the King's Baker. It burned for 4 days and destroyed a large part of the city, including Old St. Paul's Cathedral and about 13,000 houses.
Wow.
It's a hot old fire. Yeah, the Great Fire of London was not fucking around.
No, it wasn't.
And feature biography is a happy birthday to Jimmy Connors, American tennis player, born on this day in 1952, turning 72 today. Man, he's an old timer now. Happy birthday, Jimmy Connors. Other birthdays today, other athletes' birthdays today. 1948 is the birthday of Terry Bradshaw, American football player. Also, 1960, birthday of Eric Dickerson, American football player. 1965 is the birthday of Lennox Lewis, British boxer, Lennox Lewis. And 1966, the birthday of Mexican-American actress, director, and producer, Selma Hayek. So a lot of athletes' birthdays today, plus Selma Hayek. And what day is it today? It is national, besides being Labor Day, which celebrates the labor movement of the United States. And it is National DJ Day, or Victory in Japan Day. It is also National Hummingbird Day. Ooh, we love hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are fascinating little creatures. And it's also National Blueberry Popsicle Day. Very specific. National Blueberry Popsicle Day. None of them other flavors will do today for September 2nd. So there's your days for today, your history for today, your stories for today. The world's coming to a... Oh, the world's fine. Anyway.
the world is
September 2nd, 2024. We're all gonna die. September 22nd. September 2nd, 2024 on Before Blueberry Popsicles.
I don't think I've ever had a blueberry popsicle in my life. I've never even seen one. So yeah, I guess I don't even
turn your lips purple.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
If you want to simulate being a corpse, eat blueberry popsicles and your lips will turn really purplish. You'll be like, yeah. Ooh, you're a corpse.
Maybe that's why that guy I saw the other day had purple lips. He was eating a purple popsicle. Yeah, that's what it was. He wasn't a zombie.
See if he was breathing.
Elizabeth Allison here from the Netherlands.
Brains.
We will see you tomorrow for Good Tuesday News Day. We'll cover all the good news we can find from the weekend and on Tuesday. So don't forget to check that out, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. And don't forget to like this video to let us know that you watched Mucking Fun Day. Now, it's time for another VJ celebration here on our mic drop moment.
VJ
has once again come to the world. Let us thank God for this great deliverance and his mercies. Long live the King.
It's not official until a bald guy with glasses says it.
I think they just use that clip every single time for these kind of videos. It must be the only video evidence of people, of like somebody reporting, it's over guys, we can stop. I
just like watching the old timey color.
Yeah, there's some color footage in here.
If you can find color film. Yeah.
But this is also from all over the world, I think, not just the US. I don't know. Is it just the U.S.?
Mm-hmm. That there is Times Square.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wasn't alive back then, so I don't know what it used to look like.
People just packed. Everybody kissing each other, spreading disease.
Do you see that person? Was that girl wearing a fake mustache? It looked like she had a fake mustache on.
No. Just shadows.
Oh, okay. Dancing in circles.
And of course, immediately the baby boom started, right?
Yeah.
All these soldiers came home. These soldiers are already home. They probably
the soldiers came home and said, "Let's have 12 children." Okay. I guess so.
Yeah.
Birth control was
My folks
not
already had
legal
two
yet,
kids
so
before,
and that's why birth control became legal. By the way, the baby boom.
My folks
They
said, let's
won't
have
stop
10
knocking
more.
me up. Doctor, please give me something so that he'll stop knocking me up.
Yeah, they.
Oh, that's Chinatown.
Nah. Got the dragon parades.
Yeah. Oh, see, this is the UK. Okay.
There's Britain.
Yeah. And Australia, I think, as well.
It could be Australia, actually. Yeah, that's
And New
Australian
Zealand.
flag.
Well, no, I mean the flags they were holding were Australia and New Zealand's flags.
Right. A Commonwealth flag, as they call it.
Yes. War
Right
over,
on, man.
official.
End of war is always good.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.